What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. The last time I touched this subject, it got a whole bunch of views for all the wrong reasons, and I had quite a fun time stirring some sensitive people on the internet up. But the 18th of this month was Nelson Mandela Day. It's actually got its own actual, it's an actual thing. It was... I'm not prepared at all for this. Let me just... Mandela Day. MandelaDay.com. Cool. I've got a website as well. Look at that. And when it wants to load. Thank you. So the essence of Mandela Day: take action, inspire change, and make every day a Mandela Day. Inspire change, though. Interesting words, considering we're about to talk about the Mandela Effect, which is, to put it simply, when something we all remember happening one way has changed and is now a different way. From misquoting movie lines to remembering entire historical events incorrectly to sometimes as simple as the spelling of a word. The Mandela Effect is a very heavily debated topic, and it does come under the category, the overall category of false memory. Last time I touched this issue, I was, as someone who has experienced the Mandela Effect and sort of believes in it, I was looking at what do the people that don't believe in it say it is. And there were things ranging from like things similar to like mass hysteria to simply just remembering the way one thing was but thinking it was something else, because in our brains those two things are so similar that they've just merged into one, because it's not like a core memory, if you want to use Disney Pixar logic. Okay, so what exactly is the Mandela Effect? If you've never heard of it, and my video is the one you're watching to find out, thank you. But at the same time, there's other people out there who have been making their entire channels dedicated to this topic. They're more of an expert than I am on the topic. They should probably be the ones to introduce you. However, the Mandela Effect describes a situation in which a person or a group of people have a false memory of an event. I am reading off of a website, I will link it below. Interesting. So Fiona Broome coined the term over a decade ago when she created a website detailing her recollections of former South African President Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. However, Nelson Mandela did not die in prison in the 1980s, because after serving 27 years in prison, he then served as president of South Africa between 1994 and 1999, which is not in the 80s. And then he passed away in 2013, 33 years after, or up to 33 years after when he apparently died in prison. Despite these facts, Broome seems to remember international news coverage of his death from the 80s. She even found others who had almost identical memories of Nelson Mandela's death in the 20th century. What causes it? There are several potential causes of the Mandela Effect. The sections below will look at these in more detail. Before we get into those, I'm going to put my theory and my 2 cents in, and that is that the Mandela Effect is... I'll use my analogy. I like my analogy. I think it paints it pretty well. If if you've got a body of still water, right, and you put a leaf on the surface, so it's just sort of floating, not really doing anything because the water's not moving, so it's just sort of floating there. And then you drop a stone in, and it will ripple out, right, as it does. Obviously, that's then going to put a bit of a current, and the leaf's going to sort of move. It might shift orientation, whatever. If that rock, going into like a time travel theory here, if that rock was the time traveler going through, and that is the initial event for the butterfly effect, which, as we all know, is a ripple effect, the ripples would then be the butterfly effect, which you can only observe as the butterfly effect if you are at the edge of your body of water, watching the ripples as they come in as small waves by that point, because they would have been able to build up enough. The leaf, however, is experiencing the ripples as they happen, and its reality is ever changing and ever shifting. That's the Mandela Effect. That's what we're experiencing. We're experiencing these small little changes in the fabric of history because of time travel as they actually change. So to someone born in the future, they'll always remember things the way the Mandela Effect says they are now, because to them that's always how it will have been. However, there's nothing to say that they won't then come up with their own Mandela effects later on. Interesting, very interesting. The potential for you to now remember everything that ever happens from here on forward the way that it will always be, but someone in the future will be like, hang on, that wasn't like that before, because you've always been on this timeline and they've just shifted over, like their consciousness has just shifted over. It's crazy. So one of the causes people insist is the concept of false memories, which provides a potential explanation for the Mandela Effect. So false memories are obviously untrue, and they can be distorted recollections of a particular person or event. Some false memories contain elements of fact closely resembling the actual event in question. However, others can be just entirely fabricated, entirely false. Although the idea of false memories causes discomfort to some people, memory mistakes are quite common. Memory does not work like a camera, objectively cataloguing images, events, and statements in their purest forms. Emotions and personal bias can also inform and influence your memories. So at the time you might remember something being really good because in the moment you felt great, and therefore that's a good memory, and then you look back at it in a couple of years' time and yeah, that really wasn't a great thing to be so happy about back then, because by that point you've grown and that thing you would no longer do, you would no longer take joy in that thing. So memories can change, and this is why it's a possible solution. It's not one I agree with. It is one that I understand, however. So researchers have even discovered a simple method of inducing false memories called the Diess-Roediger-McDermott task paradigm, or the DRM. So during the DRM task paradigm, participants read a list of semantically related words, such as, and they've got a list here: zebra, monkey, whale, snake, elephant. After reading the list, researchers will ask the participant whether or not they recall a Lua word, which is another related word not included on the list. A Lua word in the above example might be lion. Although the term is semantically linked to the other words in the list, it's not present. Usually the participants will recognize the Lua word and recall reading it even though it was never on the list. According to the authors of one 2017 study, people remember false memories induced via the DRM task paradigm for as long as 60 days. Another possible cause is a thing called confabulation, which is not, it's not a great way of congratulating somebody. It is a false statement or retelling of an event that lacks relevant evidence or factual support. Although confabulations are technically false statements, the speaker will regard these statements as fact. According to Lisa Bortolotti, a philosophy professor for the University of Birmingham in the UK, people do not intentionally confabulate. A 2017 article on the topic, in a 2017 article on that topic, Professor Bortolotti stated that most people are unaware of the information that would make their explanations accurate and are not able to provide better explanations. It's a common symptom of neurological conditions that affect memory, like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. When a person with dementia confabulates, they are not lying or attempting to deceive. They simply do not have the necessary information or awareness to recall a specific memory or event accurately. We've also got priming. So in psychology, priming describes a phenomenon in which exposure to a stimulus directly influences a person's response to subsequent stimulus. For example, if a person reads or hears the word grass, they will recognize another related word, such as tree or lawnmower, more quickly than an unrelated word. It's also known as suggestibility, and it can influence a person's reactions and memory. For instance, the phrase, "Did you grab the red ball from the shelf?" is much more suggestive than the phrase, "Did you take anything from the shelf?" This is because the second phrase contains a general open-ended question, while the first describes the action of grabbing a specific object. Therefore, the first phrase has a stronger influence on memory than the second phrase. And here's the one we wanna delve into. This is the cause that we like. Alternate realities and parallel universes. So Broom describes the Mandela Effect as a clear memory of an event that never occurred in this reality, in this timeline. Her explanation ties into several popular theories that suggest that the Mandela Effect occurs when our reality interacts with other alternate realities or parallel universes. The concept of alternate realities originates from quantum physics and string theory. This theoretical framework explains the universe from the very nature of reality in terms of tiny strings that vibrate in 10 dimensions. Based on string theory, one can assert that our universe is only one of many potentially infinite other universes. This is known as the multiverse. Although the mathematical foundation of string theory works, the theory itself remains unproven and is highly controversial. So some features of the Mandela Effect can include having distorted memories in which some aspects are partially or entirely inaccurate, clearly remembering entire events that did not happen, or several unrelated people sharing similar distorted or inaccurate memories. It has also, or can also be likened to mass hysteria, in which a whole bunch of people, insist that they had a similar experience. A good example of this in media is in Shazam, when they're actually when Dr. Savannah is trying to get the code to get back in and get the 7 deadly sins from the Council of Wizards. I don't remember what it was called for a second there. But yeah, you get to see all of these people on video calls and stuff telling the research lab all about their experiences with the flashing lights and stuff as they got taken to the Council of Wizards to be tried, and they just put it down to mass hysteria to begin with. But if instead of going to the Council of Wizards in Shazam, if you just remembered that, you know, Nelson Mandela died in prison instead, suddenly it's not mass hysteria, it's the Mandela Effect. So it's kind of similar. Yeah, the bottom line is that the Mandela Effect does not involve lying or deception. Instead, it occurs when a person or a group of people have clear but false memories. So some good ones, for instance, when Darth Vader says, "No, I am your father." In Forrest Gump, my mother always said life was like a box of chocolates. It being the Mandela Effect there being the word was rather than is. In Casablanca, when the character Elsa says, "Play it, Sam," rather than "play it again." There's also the Berenstain Bears, Kit Kat no longer having a hyphen in the middle of it. And that's the one that trips me out. I remember the hyphen. What else we got? A Volkswagen logo having a break now between the V and the W. I just think I remember it not having a break in that. What are some of the other ones? Yeah. The Monopoly Man's monocle. Berenstain Bears, not Berenstein Bears. Berenstein, depending on what country you're from and how you pronounce that. Yeah. There's a bunch of examples out there, and like I said, people on YouTube have made it their whole channel's niche to just cover the Mandela Effect. That's how popular this phenomenon is, and I'm going to call it a phenomenon because I've experienced it myself. Yeah. So yeah. That's all I've got for this video though. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well. Let me know in the comments down below, do you believe in the Mandela Effect? And if so, which one spins you out the most? I would love to find out which ones you find the craziest, because you may even introduce some new ones to me. I was trying to find some new ones, so you may introduce me to something and I'll just end up in a hole on the internet, which in my downtime is always a fun thing to be doing, just sliding down a hole on the internet. Yeah. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and until next time guys, keep your head screwed on.